your hands together until they bleed for Toya Pace.
Point out the reason why this microphone keeps having like a hard time is because this is a glorified chip clip on this guy. Just in case I decide to do an ASMR set later, so I can hang my bag of chips here. How are we all doing, folks? Great. That's good. I like to hear it. Who here is from Seattle? Just a quick survey. Cool, I have to avoid in the parking lot after this so I don't get jumped to Pearl Jam. Can't have that happen again. Yeah, because I'm about to talk some shit, just so you know. No, I'm not. I actually love Seattle. I've lived here for 7 years, yeah. Well, actually not here. Washington, 7 years, Seattle for 3 years, and I've really grown to love it. It's a wonderful city. And I mean, I really adopted the culture. I hardly smile at strangers anymore. I haven't owned an umbrella since 2018. And I always refer to myself as the 12th man. Whatever that means. It's baseball, right? Just kidding, I know it's soccer. But despite that, as much as I love Seattle, there's just some things that I cannot wrap my head around for the life of me. Like the Seattle dog. Have you all heard of it? Okay, for those of you who are just like in the dark, a Seattle dog, just imagine the most worst Midwest invention ever. They take a hot dog and put cream cheese on it. Enough saturated fats to kill both of my uncles together. Exactly. Can't wrap my head around that one. Looks like they give Midwesterners weed now. It's terrifying. But another thing that I absolutely cannot wrap my mind around is the gun wall. Oh, yeah. Like, I wish I was a fly on the wall in that marketing meeting one time. Like, because I imagine, like, the owner of Pike Place, Mr. Pike himself, he's just ranting and raving, talking about how kids these days are so disrespectful with their gum and their music and their shoes and their TikToks. Wait, actually, that's a conversation I had earlier this week with my parents. But I think if you go ahead and replace TikToks with MTV, it's pretty much the exact same conversation. But Mr. Pike, he's ranting and raving to his poor, unpaid, because it's the 90s, intern Pikel. And Pikel's just in his head going, geez, last week when I was scraping the gum off the wall, I got 2 pieces in my mouth. I have hepatitis A, B, and C. And I'm unpaid, I don't even have insurance. But Michael, he's going through this and he's thinking and wondering, and he uses that big, beefy business boy brain of his. And he starts pitching to his boss that he has never pitched before, and he goes, boss, I think if we go ahead and we really play up that Seattle grunge factor, advertise the hell out of it, it'll become big, and people will come from everywhere to see it. And because Mr. Pike was still high from his cocaine bend the night before, all he heard were the words big and come and agree immediately. So I think that's how that one came to be. But despite this outfit, I know it's like very surprising, but I come from Nevada. Not Vegas, I know you're just about to ask me that. I actually come from a very small town called Elko that is significantly less classy than Vegas. Hard to believe, I know. But who here has heard of a little thing called truck nuts? Okay, for the rest of you who aren't perverts, truck nuts are these little silicone testes that look like they were just plucked off of a Ken doll and draped over the trailer hitch of a truck to, I don't know, attract women. I've never seen it happen. But I bring them up because Elko is known as a one truck stop, multiple truck nut kind of town. Yeah, the scrote to stock ratio is absolutely ridiculous. In fact, it is projected within the next 4 years, the number of truck nuts will exceed Elko's entire population. This is mostly because Elko has started a modesty campaign against breastfeeding mothers. Because, as any good American will tell you, the only body part that should be hanging and slinging in a non-sexual manner are nuts. Yeah, but mothers, being clever as per usual, have figured out that if you just kind of like cover up your situation with truck nuts, people have the tendency to leave you alone. And it kind of started with them like balancing one on their chest and the other on the baby's forehead. But some others, they wanted a little bit more coverage. So what they did was they took like those really ugly crocheted blankets and started crocheting truck nuts onto them. They look like the world's ugliest Pandora bracelet and are just as much of a choking hazard. Okay, I'm glad like 2 of you laughed. It really shows where your values are. Nuts on a baby's forehead, fine, but in the mouth, too far. But yeah, no, it's honestly one of the most beautiful traditions I can think of, because any given day, you just drive down Main Street and you see a gaggle of grannies just crocheting and chain smoking to their heart's delight. And you all say Middle America doesn't have culture. But I lived in Elko for 18 years, which is so long that by the time I could drive myself to school, the parking lot where I parked was actually the hospital I was born in. Yeah, you know the one they tore down a year after I was born because they finally decided it had too much asbestos in it? Just small town things. But yeah, no. While Elko did prepare me for a life of mesothelioma, it did not prepare me for dating. Yeah, who here is on the dating apps? Okay, one person. Yeah, how do you like those apples? See, I feel very differently, I do. Because for me, Tinder is like scrolling through a candy store filled with old lady strawberry candies and rat poison. Swiping through the sloughs of finance bros and men named Craig, you really get to see people in their most primal form. In fact, one time when I was going through it, I came across the profile of an entire prison cell block. I wasn't aware that they were allowed to do it, but they were there! And the profile was primarily for the head dude. I don't remember what his name was, so I nicknamed him King Shiv. I thought it was fitting. And King Shiv, he let us know that if we wanted to, we could reach out to him or any of his cell block buddies and maybe have a smoldering date in 5 to 10 years. Which, if you think about it, is really nice, because I feel like most men, they just want a conjugal visit and quit it. Yeah, but no, these men are down to cuff it. They're not handcuff it. That's a touchy subject. Yeah, but I know you all are wondering, he did know why he was in prison. Do we have any guesses? Don't be afraid, I'm not going to mug you, which is not why he was in prison. God, you guys are so shy. Come on, yell something at me.
Word.
Close.
Manslaughter.
Assault.
Yes, aggravated assault. Which, if you think about it, is kind of like the sexiest of assaults. So I probably should have swiped right. Maybe my relationship would have ended differently, but who knows? But yeah. Sorry, I gotta like check my notes real quick. Speaking of crimes, who told men that it was okay for them to make eye contact with us when they stopped on our nipples? I'm gonna be needing names because there is nothing erotic about a grown man with a 401k, because I do have some semblance of taste. Just whipping off your bra. Your boobs flop to the side because they're a bunch of lazy freeloaders. And then he locks eyes with you and just starts reaching for your boob like, meow, 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 meow. Start looking at me, meow, meow, meow. Horrifying. And then when he finally gets the boob in his mouth, the room falls silent. And you just have to sit with yourself and realize that you fell for this man's mommy kink. Pro boner. Sorry, pro bono. But I decided to kind of switch things up a little bit on them. I like to sing to them when this happens. Yeah, I kind of just cradle their head and go, hush little baby, don't make eyes. If you do, I'll find another guy. And if he does the exact same, thank God I am a little gay. Thank you, it's 99 cents on iTunes, $1.49 on Google Play. But yeah, no, as much shit as I love to talk about men on this one, I do think they are doing it for a nice reason. I really do. Because you see, men, they just really love when you make a lot of eye contact with them when you give them head, right? They just want you on their dick like Edward Munch's The Scream, just... So I think we should take a play out of their playbook, right? And when they start sucking, we should just start pushing their head down on our boob. Yeah, I want the entire boob in their mouth. They should look like a snake that has swallowed an egg. Yeah. So I'm single. And despite being very eager for beaver, I have only had queer relationships with straight men. I am non-binary, in case you didn't know. I should have led with that, which is what men say on dating apps as well, but I do, they just can't read. Sorry, this turned into a misandry podcast. But yeah, no, I genuinely feel like for straight men dating me, it's a lot like drinking a LaCroix. It's refreshing. It's a little spicy if you're white. And if you really sit with yourself and think about it, it starts to become fruity. Or at least, that's how I hope they look at it, because the other option is a lot worse. Like if they look at dating me as a lot like eating a Beyond Beef burger. They only do it to impress their liberal friend. And they spend the entire time convincing themselves it's not as bad as it looks. They're like, it looks like the real thing, it tastes like the real thing, and it can't be as gay as my father says because it won't even let me put meat in between its buns. Thank you. So did anybody else grow up in a childhood just totally devoid of parental approval? Woo! Just the comedians love to hear. I was swiping through TikTok because what else do millennials do? And I came across the profile of a very wayfish man. And that devoid of parental approval moment came through, and I realized, oh boy, I have a praise cake. Yeah, strange things go down on that TikTok app, but it's been really fun exploring this thing, right? But as a non-binary person, it's kind of like a little bit of rough terrain. Because one time I was getting hot and heavy with somebody, hold the applause, and he decided to pull out, you're such a good free thinker. I am pretty sure my pussy has prolapse. And as horrifying as that sentence was, I almost wish he would have kept going, you know? I wanted to see what you could create, like, ooh, baby, you give head like a maverick. Damn, baby, that's the ass of a good citizen. Oh, baby, you're so base. Okay, I gotta stop doing that, or Joe Rogan's gonna sue me for copying this podcast. But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting dating people. How are we feeling about this nice weather we're having?
Love it!
Okay, don't flap your arms about though. There's too much natural deodorant going on in this room. I can tell. So I'm a very hairy Italian person. That's why I asked this question. I am terrified for the summer. It is so aggressive having to shave everywhere. And I'm such a hairy-ass Italian, and the only thing that isn't hairy about me is actually my asshole. Yeah, that's right, I shave my asshole. That's the sound of the weed eater I have to use. But yeah, I bring up shaving my asshole because I didn't know for the longest time why I did it. Because I never let anybody back there. It's not my thing. But I think I figured out why I do it. I think I'm using my asshole as like a little wrinkly pink carrot to just dangle in front of whoever's going to town back there. Yeah, I like to think that like the option of maybe having anal sex is enough to push them forward into being good at regular sex. Big thinking, I know. But I'm just hoping my asshole's back there, like the brown eye of Sauron. We got Lord of the Rings fans out there? Okay, that poor guy's gonna have the worst night of his life. This is for you though. Yeah, I just think it's back there that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Stay on the beat and the booty roll is yours. Stop making that noise and I will gobble your boys. Fuck the way you dirty talk and I will make this pussy pop. Thank you. That will actually be released on the 25th anniversary of Lord of the Rings as a porno. Yeah, Maggie Smith will voice my asshole. And there will be 12 short kings and their cock rings of power. Thank you. I've casted it out. You're terrified of me. You were with me for the boob part, but the butthole a little too far. I got you. That's okay. Don't worry. The only person who is also not disappointed by that joke is my mother. She's actually really fucking proud of me, which is not the reaction you get when you're a comedian, because when you tell most people you're a comedian, the room falls silent. Like a death has just occurred. The death, of course, being my job prospects. Yeah, but no, my mom tells everybody what I'm up to. Like I am curing cancer instead of telling dick jokes all across Seattle. In fact, I want you to imagine my mom with me, okay? She's about like yay high. Unless she has tea spray gelled and wool in her hair, and then she's about yay high. She is about 62, but she looks to be in her 50s. And due to our Italian heritage, she not only speaks very emphatically with her hands, she also speaks at the top of her lungs! I have hearing problems. But yeah, no, I love my mother, and I just want you to imagine her with me. She's at her Home Depot job, she's scanning the screws, the nails, whatever the fuck that tool is. Then she finally gets to the lumber, and she looks her customer down in the eye, and she goes, "Oh, my daughter loves making jokes about wood. They also like making dick jokes, too." I had to tell my mom to stop saying that, actually. Because it's not true. I also make asshole jokes, too. Can't be caught false advertising. But no, I'm really honestly proud of my mother because she recently went through a huge weight loss with a little diet I like to call divorce court. Give it up for failed marriages, everybody!
Yeah!
Love divorce court. But did anybody else have parents who divorced when you were an adult?
Yes.
Did you have to have the talk with them?
What's the talk?
The dating talk.
Oh, no.
Okay, but so you have a normal relationship with your parents?
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, okay. You just talk about things like your feelings, not fucking. Okay, great. Yeah, no, I had to have the dating talk with my mother, and I thought it was important to highlight 3 rules. 1, never let a man drive you anywhere. I don't want my first film credit to be a 2020 episode. Number 2, never let a man pay for you anymore. They expect head now. The only thing more horrifying than having to tell my mother that is the fact that she already knew what head was. And that's right, my mom's a slut. There's a reason I'm here. And then number 3, stay far the fuck away from the rapper Young Gravy. For those of you who are just absolutely baffled, Young Gravy is what happens when you let a white man rap, and that white man looks like the mix between a Minnesota Viking, Macklemore, and Hugh Hefner. But instead of him wanting to fuck 18-year-olds, he wants to fuck your mom. And call me a prude if you will, but I don't want to hear about my mom's sex life on tabloids. I'd much rather her tell me that in person. Give it up for Codependency and myself, folks. You've been a wonderful audience.